You want to hear about this? This isn't gonna go the way you think. This might be the first time I've told the story. Caster is the guy that I take, the most pride in being said that I got trained under. People love Creative Pro so much that they will sacrifice the time of their day to make sure that people get the proper Creative Pro education. Is there any way that I can maybe be paired with Eric James? Me and Eric could be kind of like if I was his road dog to his Jeff Jarrett. The guy booking at the time came up to Jack and I and said, we need a tag team. We're going to put you guys together.
Paris Van Dale, I don't know how long the parent's been going, but you sing a song.
So when he texted me to check in, hey, what's the surprise? I went, oops. And I was like, what if I sing her a song?
You become the king of cap, eliminating Jack Tomlinson. When that bell rang, that must have been a good feeling.
It just all felt so worth it. World's shortest WWE security guard. I'm afraid that there's a picture of me posted of don't let this guy back in because he's unprofessional. So hopefully that's not the case.
This is Best for Business with your host, Coach C, Chris Sanders.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now, when I first made my commentary debut, one of the matches I was pumped to call was Teddy Goods and Little Mean Kathleen against Dante Drago is the best and Jack Tomlinson. And I'm pumped for this one. I had Jack early on, and Dante, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
Dude, I'm so hyped, right? Look at this.
Oh, first boy, we ain't playing around.
Wow. Yeah. Former frat star Dante Drago is the best here. I'm hyped. I'm looking forward to this. How's it going, everybody? Chris, what's going on, man?
It's going on good. I appreciate you doing this once again. So let's hear about it. Creative Pro Wrestling, is that your first destination for professional wrestling?
Yeah. First as an independent wrestling fan and first to start training at. My buddy just hit me up and was like, hey, there's a show happening in Hicksville. You should come check it out. And I went and I saw it's crazy because I saw all these guys who are now friends of mine. And I was so impressed by them with, Max, both of them actually, Caster and MJF. Kevin Tibbs was there. I remember seeing him. CPA, Francis Kipling Stevens. All these cool. Massage NV versus Best Friends was the main event of this show.
Wow,
it was just my mind was blown. It's like, oh, this is 15 minutes from my house. That's crazy. But I'm a Creative Pro guy through and through. I love Cap. I will proudly hold that banner for the rest of my life. It's a special place, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Now, when you said your friend invited you, did you watch wrestling in the past? And then after that show, when did you make that jump and take that initiative to officially join the school?
So I never really watched wrestling as a kid. It took me a while to get into it. It wasn't until I joined my high school wrestling team that I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. My friends would always roll around and do RKOs and stunners and stuff. And I was like, all right, there's something here. This is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then I've always been an athlete. Always loved entertaining people, and I just kind of realized that wrestling kind of fits both of those. And I joined Cap on a whim. I didn't think I'd actually be a pro wrestler, in all honesty. Wow. I really thought that this is going to be hey, you do it for 3 months, maybe you do a battle royal, you quit after that. At least you said you did it, and I fell in love with it so quickly, and almost immediately. I remember my first night there. It was me and Steven Azure of the Even Stevens. We started the same exact day.
Wow.
We spent hours. We were there till 1 a.m. that first night, which is really rare for new kids. But we couldn't get enough of it. We loved it.
Wow. So what was that first match?
That first match. So my first match in front of a crowd ever. Creative Pro does a lot of birthday parties. So my first match was at a birthday party. The funny story is that that birthday party was scheduled to be on a Saturday, but we got the dates mixed up, and it was actually on a Sunday. Reason why it's funny is that Grim from Grimm's Toy Show was there.
Oh, boy.
And he was like, I can't make Sunday, but I still need to film the episode for, on the YouTube channel. But my first ever match with live Shook Crew commentary from Max, Bryce, and Bobby is available on YouTube on Grimm's Toy Show somewhere. I don't know where to find it, but it's there. And it was against Harry Zen, if you know who Harry Zen is.
Oh, yeah.
You know the Eternal Flame. And yeah, it was something, all right. But my first official match on the Cap show was the King of Cap Battle Royal, won by Wally Allen. But currently, I'm the King of Cap.
Oh yeah.
That's a full circle moment, and that was really cool looking back on that I debuted in this match, then I won it at the 10-year anniversary of Creative Pro. That was a really special moment for me.
There's two people I was going to ask you about. One was Harry Zen. Have you heard anything? Is he doing good?
Yes, I have heard something from
That's
Harry.
awesome.
He's doing great. He's meditating. He still is not wearing shoes. He's just doing his thing, man. I don't really know what brought him out of wrestling, but I know he's doing well. And there was, I'll give you a little inside information. There was at some point a discussion that he would maybe make a return at that King of Cat Battle Royal, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. We did get a return from Slade,
Oh yeah.
which was physically, mentally intimidating, but he's a psychopath, and it was good to see Slade again in the cap ring.
And what about Dorian Graves?
I wanted Dorian in that match.
Yeah.
I want him in that match too. I honestly I couldn't tell you where Dorian Graves is. He's probably off with El Generico with Mexican, in all honesty. But Dorian's the man. A ton of respect for him. We said Massage Envy was at that first cap show, so gotta love Dorian.
That's awesome. So now I have a question. I never understood how this works. You're a graduate of the Creative Pro Wrestling Academy, right?
Yes.
What is it like? How do you graduate from there? Is this like certain years, or how does that work?
So a lot of the thing is, so here's the thing with wrestling schools, it's usually just kind of like a free for all. It's, oh, hey, you trained for 3 months? Awesome. How about you go out on this show in Pennsylvania in this dirt pit and have 20 minutes and wrestle? But they're not really, putting any effort into it. They're just doing it to see on TV. With Creative Pro, you're held such a high standard that, to say you graduated is basically Pat Buck and Brian Myers, the two head trainers of the school, saying, you have our stamp of approval. You are free to go out and get any bookings you want. You have, gone to practice. You've done everything you needed to. Go out and become a pro wrestler. So that's their stamp of approval of saying you graduated cap. That means that you have something of value to this industry.
Is there like a certain amount of years, or it could be whenever?
You can theoretically graduate in a year, in all honesty.
Wow.
Like, Freak of Nature came in and, just blew everyone out of the water. They would just say, all right, you're good, dude. Just go out and have fun.
How long until was yours?
I started January 2018, and I graduated, I want to say, right after the pandemic, around 2021.
Nice.
So about 3 years, 3.5 years.
Nice.
But, it wasn't a huge thing because we weren't really practicing at the time because of COVID, but it was seeing that graphic on the banner was, that was one of those things where it was kind of like, wow, like you really did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have the highest regard for Cap. So being a Cap graduate is, the biggest honor for me.
Now, when we talk about graduate, one of the things I love about you is recently, or I don't know how many months ago, you did graduate again. Now, lead me to like the ideas of like what made you think of that graduation, and the thing that stuck out to me. Walk me through that speech.
Yeah. So basically, like, I was the frat star for my entire career. For those of you who don't know me, I was a guy who was in a frat who was literally the life of the party. Dante Drago, the frat star. I am an actual frat kid. I have some sort of paddle or banner around here somewhere in my room. But I brought the idea back with me to Creative Pro, and I started doing the frat stuff. And eventually I broke out into New England and I started doing it there. And, I had this paddle and I had the star glasses, as you saw. But there came a time where I realized that, I've kind of outgrown being the frat guy. Yes, obviously I graduated back in February, but I was also out of college for a while and I really didn't resonate with the character. And I started saying Drago is the best, and crowds started responding to it. And I was like, all right, well, how do you transition away from this character, but still keep the fun integrity of who he is without doing a complete restart? And it just kind of dawned on me that if I could find a way to graduate and to make it, something that people actually care about and, promote on social media and do all this stuff, then maybe it'll result in, people resonating with it. And that's what happened. I had people come up to me and say like, oh, dude, happy graduation. And I was like, So it was really, really fun to plan around and do. The one regret I do have is I never finished the graduation series. So the final episode of the series that I made during it, I still have the footage, haven't edited it yet. Don't know if I ever will, but if I do, maybe it'll be something that people will enjoy.
So walk me through the speech. That was something I watched right before this interview too. Just the way it was produced, like the things that you said, like that was great.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to my producer. I don't know if he wants me to say his name. He's in the industry. He's a cap guy too. But shout out to him. It was a lot of fun producing, and I think the original idea was to play that at the cap show because obviously, as that's my home promotion, I want to make that the pinnacle, the paramount. Like, oh, this is where all these big story beats for me personally happen. When the speech came down to it, I wanted to just have something where it was a goodbye, but also kind of planting the flag of like, yeah, I am silly. Yeah, I'm very fun and I have a good time. But when it comes down to it, I truly believe that I'm one of the top talents in the independent scene. And I think it's my job now, as the guy who keeps screaming from the rooftops, Drago is the best, to go out and prove it. So that was me kind of laying my claim of just saying like, all right, cool, we did this frat thing, we had a great time with it, but now that's done, and now it's time to get to the actual work. So I'm happy you enjoyed it though. Thank you for watching.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I don't know when, like when do you really start doing like this content, like the videos with the subtitles, all that? When do you start? Is that when the transition happens?
So I guess so. I mean, I feel like content's such a big part of independent wrestling nowadays. I love to talk about Bobby Orlando and the fact that he does the basketball videos. I think he's brilliant. I think it's simple, quick videos. It gets your attention. He stopped posting wrestling content, and my philosophy on being an independent wrestler and having content is that you should be entertaining first and foremost. Cool, post your highlight video, that's important. Post your promo for your shows, promoters love that. But when it comes down to engagement and bringing a new audience into who you are as a person, follow trends, see what works, see what you're trying out. I was doing the impressions for a while. That was a lot of fun. I have more stuff in the work. The hardest thing is just making sure that it all sticks. And a busy wrestling schedule is really tough to, balance putting 2 hours into a heavily produced and edited, chaotic wrestling promo as opposed to grabbing a bottle of tequila and throwing it against the basketball hoop and saying, "This."
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, and I like trying new things, but it's just a matter of what sticks.
Yeah.
What resonates.
Yeah, when I made my chaotic wrestling debut a few weeks ago for one of their shows, the one thing I was bummed out about was that Dante Drago was not on the card. But then you did have somewhat of an appearance because you did the video, so that answers that. You talk about it. Content is huge in pro wrestling. But let's talk about one thing I want to talk about. VBU, we talked about it earlier today. I got Jack's perspective, but what was your perspective on what was pitched to you and how it started?
So, to explain VBU, you kind of got to explain larger than life.
That was going to be the next thing, so you can explain them both.
Because originally, the pitch was, hey, I'm not really doing anything on these shows. I'm back from college. Is there any way that, I can maybe be paired with Eric James?
Oh, wow.
Me and Eric could be like kind of like if I was his road dog to his Jeff Jarrett, and I'd be the guy taking, getting beat up for him, but always trying to help him out at the end of the day because Eric's a huge part of the Creative Pro Long Island wrestling scene, and he's beyond talented. So I wanted to sit under the learning tree, get the firsthand view of these big matches and how he puts them together and what he's doing and what he needs me for. And it was just a Cap TV taping, and I don't even think it was anything like pre-planned or anything. I think it was just the day of, and the guy booking at the time came up to Jack and I and said, we need a tag team. We're going to put you guys together and we're going to see if it works. So, that's when I think, I don't even know what the original name was. The Frat Pack.
Oh, there was a name before it?
I think it was the Frat Pack. I liked it. Jack didn't like it. I was like, the Frat Pack's great. It combines both things. And he was like, nah, it's not it. and we did the one match, which you can see on the Creator Pro YouTube channel. And we kind of like, all right, well, they don't have anything else for either of us. Let's just keep going. So we workshopped ideas. Jack was a big fan of Lava University. We did our like little Creed thing. And slowly but surely, we started getting on shows, and it was Shook Crew versus VBU at the first official Cap show back. That made our debut in front of a Cap crowd, and we went off to the races from there.
Yeah, when I commentated that match of yours at Rad Pro Rasslin, I should have told Palladino, like, I was a mark for you guys. Like, I watched the vlogs, the Cap TV. Like, I was watching Cap TV since I was in, like, middle school. Now I'm in college. So I've seen, like, the transformation for so many of you guys now. One of Jack's favorite moments, and I'm sure it goes the same with you, was winning the Creator Pro Tag Team Championships. When you got that pinfall, when the match was over, what was going through your mind?
That was, I think, my second tag title ever, but I think coming from Creator Pro, that was like unbelievable. I remember that night, I was watching TV and just had the belt just like laying on my lap, and I was just the happiest guy in the world, because it's like the graduation thing. Like, you graduate Creator Pro, it's like a stamp of approval. You get a title at Creator Pro. You are representing Creator Pro as the top team, the championship team, with amazing teams there like Shook Crew, like the Even Stevens, and we have it. And that was just mind-blowing to me. It took a very long time for me to find the confidence in wrestling to, really say that I belong in this, because everyone's so talented nowadays. Everyone's so impressive. That helped me be like, okay, there are people here who believe in me. I can keep working hard to prove them right.
Yeah. So. And then when we talk about Creator Pro, when you started, I believe you said it was 2018. What has been the transition you've seen of Creator Pro from where it was to where it is now?
Oh, wow. Geez, I can give you, so in terms of a school aspect, it's a lot of guys stepping up. That's what I think I'm most proud of today's Creator Pro, as opposed to, when I started. When I started, it was very regimented. You had, your Pat Buck class, you had your Brian Myers class, and you had your Max Caster teaching us beginners, who I don't know if he claims me, but I'll take this opportunity to say that Max Caster is the guy that I take, the most pride in being said that I got trained under. Yes, obviously Pat and Brian, did so much for me, but without Caster, I wouldn't be the wrestler who I am today. And yeah, a lot of it was, these old guys, Cliff Marshall, Mark Sterling, Coach Mamone, if you know who that is.
Oh, yeah.
All these guys, coming in, training with us. And you had all these people who had experience rolling in and out. So I got to learn under them. And, I come back from college, and, Brian's in TNA. Pat was, signed to WWE, signed to AEW. Caster's doing amazing things. So people had to step up. I like to think that I kind of, help and, at least lend an ear to students when they need help. But, Bear Bronson, he steps up. Aaron Rourke, he steps up. They both have done such a great job leading the charge of these new generation of Cap wrestlers. I'm proud to call them both friends. Proud to learn under both of them. Steven Azure too has been, lending a hand as well. It's just, people love Creator Pro so much that they will sacrifice the time of their day to make sure that people get the proper Creator Pro education. And in shows, honestly, the fact that we just do Melville shows now is insane to me. What Cap was in Hicksville, 95 Engineers Drive in the garage, to now having 1,000 people in the Melville All Sports Arena coming out and supporting Creator Pro. That's insane. 10 years later, it's just, I am so blessed to be a part of it.
That's awesome to hear. A few of the guys you mentioned we're going to get into, but something I didn't even know about you. I was digging through all your social medias. Tell me about it. You got to do security for, was it Rock and Roman?
Yeah. I was, I'm the world's shortest WWE security guard.
All laying down the law. I love it. Now, how many years into training was that for you?
So that was around the time of, I believe, the Cap titles, the tag team titles. That was February of 2022. I just got out of college. And I remember I got a text that said, hey, they need people. Can you make it? And I worked during the week, so it was, a Monday night, and I said, I don't care. I need to be there. So, didn't tell anybody, hit the road with my friends, made it there. And the being in that situation of being an extra is one really intimidating, especially when like you're still new to wrestling. But two, it's just everything is just so motivating,
Yeah.
and to say that I, shared the ring with two arguably the greatest of all time, including Paul Heyman too,
Oh yeah.
which holy shit to see his excuse me for cursing, to see his mind work uh in person was the one of the most eye-opening things of like, wow, this guy's thinking on a level that like I can't even comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
You it was the biggest rush you could imagine, honestly.
Wow. That's
Being
awesome.
I'm blessed to be a part of it. The biggest regret is that I forgot to change my dress shoes for my sneakers, so I came out in bright white Nikes, and I'm afraid that there's like a picture of me posted of like, don't let this guy back in because he's unprofessional. So hopefully that's not the case.
Now you mentioned a few of these guys. Let's get into like talking about how many times, I don't know if you share the ring with, but the first one you mentioned, you talked about it, Max Caster. You said Brian Myers and Pat Buck have had a hand in training you, but Max Caster is somebody that you really give like the stamp of approval to. So what was it like? I know you did one for Cap TV first, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We wrestled on shows, I believe only twice. The first one being Shook Crew Fun Fair 2. It was my first Cap main event. One of my favorite matches ever. And it was one of those matches where like I kind of just went into autopilot and just I knew what was going on, and I was just going through doors and spearing people and doing all this crazy stuff. Um, but Cap TV Live, I did I think it's the quest to be the best, I called it,
Mm-hmm.
which is like an open challenge,
Oh yeah.
and Caster answered it. And I said I attribute a lot of my training to Caster, and for him to have that match with me on Cap TV meant so much more than I think he could ever imagine, or he
Mm-hmm.
would want to hear. I think he just told me to go like kick rocks or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that was really special. And I won.
Oh,
So
nice.
that was absolutely insane to beat Max Caster in the ring that, he trained me in for so many years. Yeah, dude, shout out to him. He really, if Drago is the best, then Max Caster is the best wrestler alive.
That's awesome. The next guy, I know you've done tag matches. Have you wrestled Brian Myers one-on-one?
No, I haven't. No, we've done a number of six mans actually. I think
Mm-hmm.
two six mans I've wrestled him. Never wrestled Brian 101. I will say though, you can talk about his losing streak in WWE. You can talk about, oh, he's in TNA, yeah, the system. Dude, Brian is so legit. He's so good. He's so smooth. He could protect you. He could lead you. He could make everything look like $1,000,000. And there's a reason why he's the most professional wrestler. He is by far, an amazing asset, and coach to Cat. It's
Oh yeah.
crazy. I would
Absolutely.
love to wrestle him.
I think it's gonna happen, but two of these guys, the next two I want to talk about, you mentioned his name earlier. The first one, he's killing it everywhere. Aaron Rourke.
Yes, yes. Love, love, love Aaron Rourke. Fun fact though, I'm Aaron Rourke's veteran. I've been training longer than him.
Wow.
He will be probably really mad if he ever sees this clip. But yes, I am his veteran. But actually, I was talking to him recently. Same thing, dude. It's just his mind for wrestling. His like not like yes, everyone talks about how athletic, how charismatic, but Aaron Rourke is a very, very smart wrestler. He gets it. He has a way of explaining things and has a way of communicating, how he feels things should be going, has a vision in his head. He's one of those guys where it's just kind of like, all right, what do you want to like what do you want to do? And he'll just bang everything out immediately. Beyond talented. And if there's anybody on the independents, he's one of the top three guys who I say they deserve to be on TV doing something, you know.
I've said it all the time, and I even had Dijak on a few months ago, and
Nice.
he was so pumped to have Aaron Rourke be that first match back on the Indies.
Dude, they killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. 4th of July American Rana.
Mm-hmm.
They killed it. I was so proud of him. I was so happy to watch that match. That was awesome. And he said some great things about him, like all over the place. Your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
big platforms. Like it was just really good for me. Really happy for me to see that requisition for him because he deserves it, dude. For real.
Yeah. And then another dude's been killing it also at Beyond Wrestling. I don't know how many times you got to wrestle him. He's recently just won the Vacation Land Cup, the Big Boofa, Dezmond Cole. How many times have you wrestled him? Oh, once.
Just
Wow.
once.
Okay.
Just once. It was at the 18 years of blood, sweat, and tears, Victory Pro Wrestling. The match is on YouTube. Highly recommend you check it out. First of all, I have been on kind of a mean streak of EPW. So now that, maybe I'm turning the page on this, I can finally say that Dez is legit, dude. One of the nicest goddamn guys around. And two, just absolute specimen of an athlete, charismatic, fun. Like it's just one of those things where you watch him work and you just sit back and just smile because he makes everything so effortless. I couldn't be happier for him. He's a Vacation Land Cup champion. And listen, I hope he wins a big one. I really do. If there's anyone who deserves it, it's him.
Now, you absolutely, but one of the guys I didn't even know you wrestled. I want to hear about the match. Bobby Fish.
You want to hear about this? This isn't gonna go the way you think.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So this might be the first time I've told the story on a podcast. All right.
Oh, we're digging deep in this one.
Whatever day the show was, okay. This is first of all huge shout out to Excite Wrestling for me the opportunity to wrestle Bobby Fish. I'm the current Excite International Champion. Very proud of that.
Nice.
King of Speedy Fest. I got a call from the promoter's right-hand man. It's a good friend of mine. His name is Tim Curtis. He is the heart and soul of Excite. I still wouldn't be there if it wasn't for him. He called me up and he says, "Hey, the guy who's going to wrestle Bobby Fish can't make it. He has COVID. I'm pushing for you. Do you want to do it?" And immediately, yes, I want to do it. Like, that's awesome. I really don't want to wrestle a lot of name guys, especially at this period. I was still very heavily with VBU, still a tag wrestler. And I take the next 3-hour drive and I'm like just thinking of ideas and watching Bobby Fish match while I'm driving. And I'm trying to, get all these things going. So, he's doing his, meet and greets and stuff. Eventually comes to the back. I find out. I say, "Hey, anything you want to do?" We, get to discussing a little bit. Everything's cool. And, we go out there and we're rolling around and the fans are into it. And we're having a great time. And we get to a part in the match where he has me in a sleeper hold.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of people know the wrestling cliche of, guys in a sleeper hold. Here's this. 1, 2.
Yeah.
Hold. And we're like this.
Yep.
Okay. When I'm in sleeper hold, Bobby Fish is saying, "Check him, check him, check him." The referee, who's a notorious, I'm not going to say the F word, but mess up, raised my hand. The hand drooped.
Yep.
And he rung the bell.
How many minutes into this match is it?
That's like, dude, 7 minutes. Like, not even.
Yeah.
And the bell rings. Bobby Fish lets me go. He's like at the ref. He's like, "What the? He's still alive, dude." I come to. I realize what's going on. I go at Bobby Fish. I'm still looking to fight.
Pro. Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "Sorry, dude, not today." And he goes to the back. I don't think I've ever been more furious after a wrestling match than that. Listen, it happens. People make mistakes like that. I guess don't go in Bobby Fish's sleeper hold, but he was pro. I want to wrestle him again to redeem myself from it.
Nice.
But that one's a funny one to look back on as a cool moment. Nice to get those pictures and the videos, but
Yeah.
I got to run that back at some point.
Oh yeah. Now, another thing you talk about the pictures. There's a picture you drop. I think it's like once a year, and I don't know the context. Explain to me the story. Were you holding? Was it a cello? Was it
It's a bass.
a bass? All right.
So yeah, dude. So I mentioned the Shook Crew Fun Fair Street Fight, which I have yet to beat Shook Crew in
Wow.
any match. I haven't beaten Bobby and Bryce as a team ever with any opponents. Doesn't matter. And some dude just came in and was like, "Hey, do you guys want all these musical instruments for the street fight?" And they're like, "Sure, man. Why not?" Uh, and you don't even see it on the video. So shout out to Matt Flood. You can find him on Twitter, Floodshot underscore, I believe his handle is. Awesome photographer, great dude. Without him, that picture wouldn't have gotten taken, and no one would have known that I even picked up the cello. He took the picture, and it became so iconic. It was sent around the group chats. Everyone started loving it. Eventually, I think Blitzkrieg Pro put out a tweet and said, "Who do you want on the next Blitzkrieg Pro show?"
Mhm.
And I believe the charge was led by Bryce Donovan, so I'll give him credit for that. But he got all the members of the Cap roster to send over that picture as a way of
Wow.
vouching for me. And like Blitzkrieg Pro tweeted out, it's like, "We've never had anything like this where one bunch of friends would send this one picture and it's just me holding a cello like an idiot." But yeah, I got on Blitzkrieg. I'm still on Blitzkrieg. And it's my favorite wrestling picture I'm ever gonna take.
Yeah, I went through all your social medias to see what we could talk about, and that was one I had no context. Now, another company, I want to know if this was an idea you thought of or was pitched. Tell me about Rad Pro Rasslin.
The Botanicals.
That first promo, too, I want to talk about you guys did.
Dude, that first promo is so crazy. Yeah, man. Rad Pro Wrestling is really, really fun. Set in 1994, I believe, at the time of that promo you're talking about. Now currently 1995. And it was just something new and it was fresh. And at the time, I was trying really hard to break out in New England. So I just really had to kind of push for it and say, "Jack, I believe in this. I think this is a good opportunity for us. I think we should go and try it." He didn't really understand it. He didn't really know what a botanical was. Again, he was the vlog guy.
Yeah.
I was the party alcoholic. So
Mhm.
I knew what this thing was. And I remember we were struggling of just like, what is this character? Jack was like, "All right, well, Tang Gray had Bobby Sapphire has a British accent. Tang Gray is just kind of posh. But it's like, who are these guys?" And I
Mhm.
sent him a voice note, and it was like just 20 seconds. I'm like, Jack, I got it. I figured it out. This is what we're gonna do. And I just stopped. It was Botanicals. He was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Just trust me. Come to Cap tomorrow. We'll film this promo. I have everything."
Wow.
And for like a whole night, just shooting off ideas. There's a longer version out there somewhere I have saved on my phone. But I've been at Rad Pro ever since the start, and I believe in
That was
them.
the first show, right?
Yeah, that was their debut show at the brewery. Really, really interesting to see, especially how far it's come. But I love Rad Pro. I think it's one of the most unique promotions out there. I think
Mhm.
it's so fun to take all these awesome wrestlers and put a spin on their gimmicks. It really is a fun time to be a part of, and I love being a botanical. I believe that I find a new botanical every match at this point, but that just means that someone else is new on the payroll. So
Yeah.
we're all trying to work at a botanical garden.
Nice, nice. Now, as long as I've known you, they've just paired, like, different companies have paired you with different members, and it seems like a lot of it clicks. Now, let me ask you, what are your overall takes on tag team wrestling, especially?
Um, so here's the thing, man. I feel like when it comes down to it, like meat and potatoes, if you're a good wrestler, you're a good wrestler. If you're a good entertainer, you're a good entertainer. But if you can combine both of those things and be able to tell the story that you're set out to tell, now you have something going. Um, a lot of these times, if I'm with a new tag member, wrestling open, I
That was
got
the next one we were going to talk about.
yeah, so it's like all these random things. I teamed with CPA, I teamed with Percy, I teamed with Jack, I teamed with J George at one point. You know, how does Dante Drago interact with, CPA? What is he trying to get across? What's he trying to do here? A lot of these times it's conflicting interest, in our match at Wrestling Open. CPA is trying to take off his shirt, but I'm telling him, no, you don't need to do that. You need to be, a wrestler. You got to be straight and narrow. And to me, it's, everything's got its own story to tell. And if you could find a story in the match, it doesn't matter who you're in there with, and you stick to the course, people will be entertained and they'll be enthralled, and you can tell the story through wrestling. And that's why we're in this medium, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah. So talk about that pairing with Percy Ryan. When did that first happen?
Yeah, I don't even know how it came to fruition. I think it was just, card got released and it was just Dante and Percy are gonna be in a tag team, and they liked what they saw and they said, you guys can do something. I think at the time it was very much like a lot of the stuff we just talked about is like knowing the role of like what you should be doing in the match. And for that, it was Percy Ryan is this rich, pretty boy, jawline character. Which shout out to Percy Ryan. He's a great, great dude, awesome wrestler. But when we started going at this, we were like, all right, well, how do we do this? And I was like, well, this is your team. Like, this should be called like Percy Ryan's team. You should be doing all of this stuff. This should be you to a T, and me being the bumbling idiot behind you, trying to get your approval and to help you out however you can.
Yeah.
I will say I love Wrestling Open. I wish I can be there more often because I think what they're doing on the independents is so incredibly important. Every Thursday forever, putting on these shows, allowing wrestlers to have that platform to be a part of on IWTV. It's a pleasure to work with them anytime I get the chance to go up there. But they are the paramount right now for me. Of if you're new to wrestling, go and check Wrestling Open.
Nice. And then the last group I wanted to talk to you about, I know you graduated, but are you still a part of the Delta House?
Yeah, of course. So I'm still the New York State champion out of VPW. So even though Vlogmore University might be dead, it's myself, Nick Robles, and Jack Tomlinson. And we're down there. We're, the dominant faction. No one can touch us. No one can beat us. And in Blitzkrieg Pro, Delta House evolved from, being this frat gimmick or whatever to, just Nick and I being the top team at Blitzkrieg Pro.
Awesome.
We take a lot of pride in that. And when Delta House started, I was very happy to allow Nick an opportunity to, get on shows and to, really put his name out there and try and get some reps in. But I'll say this, dude. Nick Robles, the Rocker Boy. If you don't know him, check him out. He is the man. A great pro wrestler, awesome athlete. And he has a really bright future ahead of him. So I'm very lucky to be teaming with him, and I'm happy I caught on to how good he is early.
Yeah. You've been killing it everywhere you go, and you said it. You got to see Wally win the King of Cap, but it's Creator Pro. Time happens. What is it, the 10th year anniversary?
Yeah, 10-year Super Show, baby.
You become the King of Cap, eliminating Jack Tomlinson. When that bell rang, that must have been a good feeling.
Yeah, dude, like it's a moment like that. Like you can't make it up. No surprise. I'm sure you feel this too. But wrestling's hard, dude. You have a lot of hours on the road. You're constantly hurting your body and trying to do everything you can, and sometimes things don't go your way and stuff gets messed up. But when you have a moment like that, it's just everything just makes sense. And all the hours at practice and all the days you spend in the gym and the hours on the road, it just all felt so worth it. Because it was like, wow, on a 10-year anniversary show, the same match that I debuted in, I went the distance, I won it, and I got to have this moment of, enjoying that crowd and enjoying the atmosphere and, realizing how much it meant to me. I also won that super injured, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I hurt my ankle really bad. I had to take some time, like 2 weeks off afterwards. But I worked through the bookings, I think the week before. Well, actually, no, I think that was when I heard it. I heard it a week before the show. And I had to pull off a show in Canada, which I still feel horrible about. I hate doing that. Um, and I just taped it up. I took like 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, which kids don't do that. That's bad.
Yeah.
And I just said, Jack, whatever happens out there, dude, I'm not gonna stop. And
Now was oh,
no, I mean you could see at some point there is a tweak of the ankle right after the Tyler bait. You could see me kind of favor it a little bit. So, I did my best to hide it, but sometimes it sucks.
yeah. Now, was this your first time in the ring with Pat Buck or no?
Now that you mention it, yeah. Yeah.
He was the final three with you guys, I believe, right?
Yeah. That was really cool, actually. Pat is brilliant, dude. He's a fantastic trainer and a fantastic wrestler. And to have him a part of that match, meant a lot, was super fun. We didn't really didn't touch that much. My focus was really on Jack.
Mhm.
But getting to hear how he puts together stuff like that, and how he thinks about things, and how he wants things to flow a certain way. He's gotten to the point of in this business because he's that good. you
Mhm.
know and I'm happy that he's gotten a lot more recognition in the later parts of his career, because he deserves a lot more. Pat Buck is the man.
Yeah. Now, Dante, this is the part that I've asked people. I was telling people I was going to have you on, and they wanted me to ask you about this. I'm so pumped. So a few weeks ago, Chaotic Wrestling, you're paired with Paris Van Dale. I don't know how long the pairing's been going, but you sing a song. So walk me through whose idea it was, the song beat you thought of, the lyrics, all that.
All right. So I guess we'll start at the beginning really quick. Because I fought Paris Van Dale.
Mhm.
It was a one-off experience. It was hey, we just want to, have a good match, go out there and do it. And the idea was brought to me. It was like, well, I mean, why don't you play some mind games? What if you asked her out on a date? And I said, yeah, I think that could work. And when I did it, we ended up building, something a lot bigger than I think anyone really expected.
Mhm.
So I started coming back, and then we started doing some backstage stuff. And soon enough, Paris and I started, connecting on further than a work level, I would say. And the show you were at, I could not make. And Chase said, why don't you cut a promo saying you have a big surprise for her next week?
Mhm.
And now, mind you, Chase doesn't know this part, but I'll say this. Um, when we had the conversation about the promo of the
Mhm.
surprise, he said, I trust you. I think, you have a good mind for this. Come up with something, pitch it to me. We'll go from there.
Wow.
When he said that to me, I said, that's awesome. I'm super excited. Then I got distracted, and then I forgot about it for a week and a half. So when he texted me to check in, hey, what's the surprise? I went, oops. Now I was at practice, and I remember I was talking to, like, I think Bobby or somebody. And I was like, what if I sing her a song? He goes, what song would you sing? And I was like, what if it's Copacabana?
Oh yeah.
And I just started singing it, and he was like, that's good. You should do that.
Mhm.
So I went home, I wrote the lyrics, I texted Chase back. He said, don't tell me anything more, just come and do it. I said, okay. So Paris didn't know what was happening. Chase didn't know what was happening. No one in the locker room knew what was happening. The only people who knew what was going on was the two guys that I drove up with, which ironically I'm going to be facing this Friday, the Shooter Boys.
Nice.
And I told them, I was like, guys, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't think they're going to like it. And they go, well, sing us a song. And they sang it. And there was like some silence in the car. And one of them just goes, dude, that's going to get so over. And it just got stuck in our heads. So it's like, okay, maybe we're on something here. But I was nervous, dude. I
Yeah.
was so nervous because no one knew what to expect.
Huh.
And that crowd is hard. They're
Yeah.
ruthless. So if they
So
don't like it, they'll tell you.
so you come out, you cut a promo for a little bit, the music hits, you're nervous?
Dude, I think I'm gonna shit the bed in all
Yeah.
honesty. I'm fully convinced that like I'm on a one-way ticket out of chaotic as the song is starting. And then at that point, I was like, well, you're in too deep. You might as well have fun doing it.
Nice.
And that's what I did. I just tried to imagine like I was doing karaoke and I was a couple drinks in. I just had some fun, and I think that's what translated the most of
Nice.
just, yeah, this guy is an absolute buffoon, but he looks like he's having fun and he's not a horrible singer. So we might as well give him a chance.
Do you have a background in singing or no?
I do actually, yeah.
Uh,
I had 7 or 6 years of singing lessons under my belt. So
wow.
a little fun fact. My brother, his name is Marco, is a much more musically inclined than I am. But I did take some singing lessons, and I was like, well, I put it to good use, I think.
Oh yeah. That might go down as one of the greatest moments in chaotic wrestling history, I think.
Once I realized how much buzz it was getting online, I was kind of like, is this actually happening? Yeah, dude. The whole segment was awesome, but it goes back to what we were talking about before. Like if we're gonna go out and do something, we have a goal to accomplish. I'm trying to go out there and tell that story of I'm trying to win you over as a
Yeah.
tag partner in Paris, and I'm gonna do that by showering you with gifts and affection. But now I'm gonna sing a song, and
Mm.
that stuff's just tried and true. It's just people resonate.
I think like the execution was perfect because the music starts and then you're just dancing. And even Palladino and Pat Matthews like just think you're dancing, like, and then you start. Oh, that was perfect, man.
Dude, it's so funny hearing the announcers. I think that's my favorite part about watching it back is that hearing those Rich and Pat just be like, "Oh, what's he doing? He's just dancing. This isn't anything." And then they shut up for the song. And then the second the song ends, you see, I think it was Rich was just like, "I love this guy." I was like, "Let's go."
That's awesome.
But yeah,
So,
it was special, dude. It really was.
so when we look at everything so far in your wrestling career, what are some of your most proudest moments in wrestling?
It's really sad to say that's up there in all
Yeah.
honesty.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's that the King of Cat Battle Royal. Um, yeah, I think just being put in these positions to get the trust of promoters for me is like the biggest things. Anytime I'm at a Melville show is always a lot of fun. I don't know, man. There's a lot that I feel like I want to accomplish
Mhm.
that I still haven't done yet. So I really don't like reflecting on like, oh, I'm like really proud of this one. There are certain matches, um, the VPW Gold Rush Rumble. I started at number one, made it to number 20, won the match, and the place went berserk. I
Nice.
am beyond proud of that for the accomplishment of the night of, yeah, we did it. We, made Dante a guy that people believe in. It was awesome. But in terms of like proudest moments, like I want to say that I want those to mean a lot more to me.
Mhm.
Like the job's not finished, like
Oh
Kobe
yeah.
speak. It's like, yeah, man, like we did some cool stuff, really, really awesome. But wait till you see what I have next.
Mhm.
It's really cool. There are certain things like the Paris stuff, the Gold Rush Rumble that I'm really proud of. But there's still stuff on the horizon that I'm working so hard to get to
Mhm.
that I'm projecting and manifesting them that's where I want to be. That's going to be my
Yeah.
proudest moment.
And then to go with that, if somebody was brand new to you, is there like one match or like, yeah, I would say a match that you would recommend? Like, do you have a favorite match of yours so far?
Yeah, man, I got a couple. Anytime I wrestle Bobby Orlando,
Mhm.
uh, I think it's just magic. I love the Bobby Orlando match that we've had. My favorite being the one from Blitzkrieg. Um, Probably me versus Marcus Mathers is a great like little like 6 minute sprint. That one's a fun one. Um, hmm, quintessential Dante Drago matches. It's a great question. I'm trying to think of like what I've been doing. There's a match I had with Bill Collier
Really?
at a fight. That's a really really fun one. Really David and Goliath style stuff. Um, Honestly, dude, I would if anyone's watching me for the first time, go and check out my match with Dezmond Cole at BPW.
Nice.
Say
Nice.
that's a great one to kind of get a feel for, who I am, what I'm doing, and yeah, I just think there's just so much more to come. It's just there's still a bit of the frat star in what I'm doing,
Hmm.
but every match that I have, it's getting further away from that. And
Yeah.
I really do feel like, I'm on the cusp of something like special. Like
Nice.
that's why it's so exciting and hard to process, because I just know that there's something right next to me
Hmm.
that I just gotta keep going and push for.
When you look at your career and all the matches you've had, have there been like one or two guys you've really learned from, or maybe like your biggest test in wrestling too?
Biggest test in wrestling. Eric James is one of them. I know spoke a lot about him. Um, Eric James for sure. Um, I try not to psych myself out with terms of like big opponents, because to me, like I think I could hang with them.
Nice.
So it's more so of go there and just do business as you should. If there's anybody who I learn from on a consistent basis, it's Bryce Donovan, in all honesty. Anytime I wrestle Bryce, anytime I'm on a show with Bryce, I can always trust that he can give me honest feedback on my ideas
Mhm.
on things, if it will work or not. Anytime I wrestle him, he's always the one that's kind of like pointing me in the right direction. I value his opinion, more so than a lot of people in
Nice.
wrestling. And I think that if I had to pick, three guys, it's him, Aaron, and Bobby as like the three biggest guys that I can like learn under. I love all three of them. But yeah, Bryce is the guy that I learned the most from on a consistent basis. Not even a match.
Nice. Well, Dante, I want to end every interview the same. I know you said you still have time to go. You have a long way to go. But the day it's officially time, you're ready to hang up the boots. What do you want Dante Drago's legacy to be remembered for in pro wrestling?
Uh Man, dude. Um, I kind of want to just do it. I want to wrestle for the people who've sacrificed for me.
Mhm.
Um, when I left my fraternity, and I owe a lot of it to them. Yes, I'm not the frat star, but if it wasn't for them believing in me, I don't think I would have been as successful in pro wrestling as I have been.
Yeah.
I told them, I said, I'm not gonna stop until I'm in Madison Square Garden wrestling, in front of you guys. Um, and my parents sacrificed a lot. My brother and sister sacrificed a lot. There's a lot of people who have permitted me the opportunity to be a pro wrestler. And I want my legacy to be someone who is constantly giving back to the business, to them, and to the people that they wrestle. I want to be someone that if they're on a show and they're wrestling me, they're excited to wrestle me, or if there's a fan, they're excited to see me. Um, that's the dream, and I
Nice.
want to make sure that I just have fun wrestling, because this is meant to be fun and awesome and meet people. So yeah, I want to just be the best version of myself, and someone who could be an inspiration to fans and other wrestlers alike.
Yeah. Well, Dante, I want to thank you so much for doing this. Like I said, like I'm a mark for you guys. Like the vlogs I used to watch to Jack did, all of Cap TV. Thank you for everything. Like we've talked about these interviews, you have so many memories in wrestling. So let's definitely try to do a part 2 down the line.
Dude, I would love to. I've had an absolute blast. It's actually crazy. We've like ran through all this time. I can go for another hour if anything, but
Yeah. Keep making
this is
memories in wrestling. Let's do it again.
yeah. Listen, I'm down for the memories. I'm down for the podcast. I can't thank you enough for having me. This has been a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this. And thank you, everybody, for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.